9 News Plus weather, sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm 9 News Meteorologist Chris Bianchi with a look at your Colorado weather forecast for today. Obviously, a big severe weather threat on tap for the entire Denver metro area between about 2 and about 6 p.m. this afternoon and early this evening. We're going to get into the details of all that. If you've been watching me the last couple of days, I have a tendency to get into those nitty-gritty details, so I'll try to avoid some of the top-level nerdiness on this, but we will get into those details and everything you need to know coming up here over the next couple of minutes. First things first, though, I do want to kind of give you a bit of an overview, what you can expect and really what you need to know. Those storms first develop between about 1 and 4 o'clock. I'll say this, too, a little bit detailed as well. The later these storms develop, the stronger they will most likely be. So kind of think about it this way. Think about the longer that these storms wait to develop, the more energy they will eventually have to work with once they ultimately do. So again, if these storms start developing around noon, 1 o'clock, maybe even by 2 o'clock, that's a sign that maybe some of the higher end severe weather might not happen. But if these storms wait till 2:33, 4 o'clock to develop, that spells trouble for us. So just something to keep in mind. All modes of severe weather will be possible for us regardless of the time of development, and the highest risk for some of that really nasty weather is just to the east of Denver. That said, and I want to reemphasize this, the entire metro area is at risk for all modes of severe weather, but in particular, it's large hail. So you need to be taking those hail precautions today. I've done that. I was just telling our newsroom here at 9 News, we have a garage and there's a little bit of limited parking situation in the garage here. And there's some empty spots. I said, yeah, I would put the car in there. So again, if you have access to a garage or carport, today is the day for that. Our friends up north, I know we dealt with a lot of that active weather in places like Dacono and Erie and Frederick overnight. Unfortunately, you already got the brunt of that nasty weather last night, and unfortunately, those same areas under a similar risk for today, if not a bit higher and a bit of a wider risk for today as well. So, an enhanced risk, that's a level 3 on a 0 to 5 scale in terms of that potential for severe storms. That includes the entire Denver metro area. For what it's worth, the Denver metro area has not been under an enhanced risk since July of 2018. So it's been a while since we've had a substantial severe weather risk like this. Part of that, though, I don't want to kind of exaggerate this in a sense. Part of that is the last few years have been unusually quiet for severe storms. So worth taking that into account. Normally we'll get 1 to 2 of these kinds of risk days a year, and today is certainly one of those. Well, now in terms of that risk for severe storms, hail and wind appears to be our highest threat for us for today. That's going to be the big concern for us. There is also a risk for tornadoes, especially east of Denver. It looks like kind of Bennett Strasburg Airport on east. That's where we're going to be looking at the highest risk for tornadoes. And in that yellow shading, that's where we have the highest potential for tornadoes to develop. Again, it does include the Denver area. I want to be clear that I-25 corridor, even west of I-25, we do have a substantial risk. I shouldn't say substantial. There is a risk for tornadoes in those areas, but the highest risk will be along and east of, say, 225 for us across the metro area in eastern Colorado for today. Now, you can see that there's a lot of moisture to work with. I can tell you, I went for a run this morning. What you're looking at, this is moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico that has streamed its way into the Front Range, and that is making it real soupy out there. I know we've had some on again, off again rain for us on the east side of town for the last little while. Here's a look at downtown Denver right now. You can see some of those raindrops on the camera here at Cheeseman Park, looking off to the west, and it's certainly looking soupy out there right now. In fact, we've already had some flight issues in and out of DIA because of all this limited visibility. Planes hate that. By the way, just a heads up, if you're flying in or out of the airport today, one, I would anticipate some big delays, especially this afternoon. Don't plan on getting in on time. I hate to say that, but certainly wouldn't plan on that. And then number two, if you are a little scared of turbulence, to me, I don't like turbulence either. If you're flying in or out of the airport today, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It is going to be very, very bumpy. Just the kind of setup that we have today, it lends to a very, especially turbulent ride. You'll be fine through the turbulence, but just better to know ahead of time. Now, another thing I haven't talked about yet, the mountains are going to get a fair bit of snow. In fact, lots of sunshine for us into the higher elevations right now, but we do get some snow up in that direction over the next few hours, more overnight tonight into early on Thursday morning. AC Doppler radar, we are mostly quiet right now, but a closer look in, we do have some raindrops falling on the east side and north sides of the metro area. This would be, looks like kind of Cheeseman Park on south to about Glendale, maybe even east to, we'll call it kind of 225 in Parker. That's where we're seeing some of that rain out there, southwest Aurora, east side of Denver, that Denver-Aurora line, seeing some of those showers and thunderstorms. So let's actually back this up a little bit for you here. Walk you through the next couple of hours, what you can expect. Storms to develop probably in the next 2 hours, maybe 1 to 2 hours or so. Again, the earlier they develop, perhaps the weaker they will be, but still some substantial storms, no doubt about it, regardless of exactly when they develop. And by about 3, 4 o'clock, that could be the kind of primo time for some of these big storms to develop. And again, the highest risk will be just to the east of Denver, east side of the metro for those higher end severe weather risks. And then those will continue to pull north. And then by tonight, northeast Colorado will see that threat continue till about 8, 9 o'clock for some strong severe thunderstorms. Then tonight, we transition to more just kind of plain heavy rain for us across the metro area. It's going to pour rain most of the night tonight into early tomorrow morning. That's great news for helping with the drought and helping with the lawns, and this is our wettest month of the year, so that's good news. Of course, too much of a good thing could be an issue, and that'll be more of an issue for tomorrow in terms of that potential for a bit of flooding. But for today, again, all eyes on the severe weather risk. Storms develop 1, 2, 3 o'clock. They'll develop on the east side of town. As they pull north, those storms will probably enhance and get stronger as they move north into Weld County, Morgan County. And by 7 o'clock or so, still a risk for severe storms, probably north and east Denver, but we'll still have a bit of a limited risk here in town. And then by about 8, 9, 10 o'clock, I should say 9, 10, 11 o'clock or so tonight, it's more of a plain rain, heavy rain event for us. Temperatures on the cool side, northeast Colorado, and those dew points. This is the number that kind of matters. This is what I pay attention to. Dew point is the measure of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The higher the dew point, the more moisture you have to work with, and we're going to have plenty of rich Gulf of Mexico moisture to work with this system across eastern Colorado, and that's why there is that risk for severe storms, and also, as we get into tomorrow, the risk for some flash flooding in a few spots, especially in far eastern Colorado. For today, temperatures, if we are able to clear on out, this is a conditional 72 degrees. If we get it clearing, we'll get up to 72. Not so worried about the temperature forecast for today, though. But for tomorrow, it's a cool, cloudy day. Showers and storms around basically all day long. It is an unsettled day, but the risk for severe weather much lower for tomorrow. So I know we had nasty storms overnight, and we got the risk for nasty storms this afternoon. Tomorrow, it's the far eastern plains with still a bit of a risk, but it looks to be that today is the main show. So tomorrow, more just kind of plain rain, heavy rain at times, but more of a rain event for tomorrow, less in the way of stronger storms. And then by about kind of Friday morning, we finally clear things on out of here. Look at this though here, folks. Computer models spitting out as much as 2.5 inches worth of rainfall for us over the next couple of days from the system. Once we start getting kind of 2.5 inches worth of rainfall, that's where we may be running into some flood issues, but for the most part, this is going to be pretty beneficial rain for us. This is, I would say, mostly good news, but certainly a little keeping an eye on that flood risk. And then snowfall, this will be above 8,000 feet in elevation where we get some heavy wet snow for some of those higher elevations for us. Most of that coming overnight and through your day on your Thursday. 7-day forecast, once we get past that. Mother's Day doesn't look all that great. It's a cool, unsettled day. Temperatures upper 50s for us with showers and storms, and then we get back into the 70s for the early part of next week. So top line takeaways, just kind of re-litigate things, so to speak. Strong storms develop. It's a little after 11:10 a.m. right now. Probably within the next 2 hours, we'll see the first storms try and develop, probably along the Palmer Divide. They will move to the north as they do so. Along and east of I-25, we'll have the slightly higher risk for strong severe storms, but basically everybody in the metro area, really the full scope of the metro area, at risk at getting some very strong storms with large hail, damaging winds, and even a few tornadoes, all possible for the entire metro area for this afternoon and early this evening. That threat will be probably highest between about 2 and 6 p.m. By about 6, 7 o'clock or so, we should see that risk for the metro area come to a close. It's a little conditional. Should come to a close by then. Then north and east, far northeast from Colorado, so kind of Fort Morgan and north and east, we'll hold on to that risk till about 8, 9, 10 o'clock or so, and then things will finally wind on down out that way. But I will mention this as well for those of you joining us here on 9 News Plus. We will have a live stream coming up with meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen at 12:30. We will also have continuing coverage throughout the day here on 9 News Plus. So we know it's a substantial severe weather, potentially substantial severe weather day for us here across the Denver metro area. We'll be tracking it for you all day long here on 9 News Plus. So it's free, so just stay here on 9 News Plus, and we'll keep you posted with the latest on this all day long. I'll have another update for you coming up at 9 News at noon, and also at 2 o'clock here on 9 News Plus as well. And then meteorologist Danielle Grant will be in at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the regular newscast. But again, here on 9 News Plus, we'll be breaking in throughout the day, keeping you posted with the very latest on this, what looks to be pretty busy severe weather day. Once again, I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.